center for the world to come and, discuss their issues?
So the first question, what exactly would be the steps that California would need to make this happen, and then how would California market itself?
Yeah.
I think California would have to do very little marketing. It's already a tourist destination for the world. It's already well known by all the superpowers. And California was actually the site of the first UN. It was going to be in San Francisco. Then they moved it to New York. Additionally, we've had like 2 global intelligence conferences here, and we have the Milken Global Conference on International Affairs. Plus, we have the conference of the 1% in Bohemian Grove, just north of the Bay Area. So we are already a center for a lot of dialogue and international people and events going on. We would build on the reputation that we already have. The second question, what would California do specifically? Well, in order to make this happen and allow this and stop this, the solution that I propose is that we do what Scotland has done in the last 5 years. So, anybody hear about Scotland politically in the last 5 years? Yeah, okay. So
I actually live in Scotland, but I don't really know a lot.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so for the last 400 years, Scotland has been a colony of England. All the decisions were made in London. Scotland had to do whatever the British said. In the last 5 years, Scotland, through a series of votes and debate, has moved to be what they call nationally sovereign. Their military and their dollar are intact. So all Scottish boys and girls serve underneath the King's military, and actually they just got a commendation from the Queen of England for their service in Afghanistan. That's post-national sovereignty. Additionally, Scotland has to use the British pound. But Scotland now has ability over education, immigration, international relations, participation in the UN, healthcare. So everybody remember how we got into this recession? We sold a bunch of bad home loans, and then they packaged them up as something, sold it to another person, didn't tell them what they were buying. As you know, nobody in America has been brought to justice for that, and probably nobody ever will. Scotland didn't have the ability to stop the global recession coming into their economy, but they have put all of the bankers who were involved in prison. You don't get to play that game in Scotland without doing hard time. We have absolutely nobody in America who's going to go to justice for collapsing our economy. There are limitations, but there are freedoms. And with this system, subnational sovereignty, they're retained close to England, and they have a good partnership. And by the way, the economies of England and Scotland have actually grown closer, and marriage rates between Scottish and English people have actually risen. This form of government is rare, but it's found in 25 nations around the planet, which means it's universally applicable for all cultures and all areas. It's also 100 years old, and all of the 25 examples are democracies with strong economies and good relations with their host nations. We would look into California doing what Scotland did. And then we would have the freedom to stop this, design our own trade policies, and reach out to the international markets. Furthermore, if we don't have the freedom given by subnational sovereignty, none of this is possible. So if you want to stop losing $120 billion each year, and if you want to actually have jobs where we need them, and if you want this California to be able to provide a nexus center and receive the wealth of the world as it rises, then you're going to have the allowance that comes with subnational sovereignty.
I think it's also good for California to kind of distance itself from the rest of America in the eyes of the world as well.
We would some, very much. We would be able to project our own image. We would still technically be part of the U.S. military. Yeah, we would still technically use the dollar. But we would be able to speak at international venues with the California voice. So how many of you heard about Armenian genocide? California recognized Armenian genocide 20 to 30 years ago. America's still debating it. So, no, we wouldn't be able to fix this, but it would allow a situation where America's at the UN, it says we don't recognize Armenian genocide. And then the California representative says Armenian genocide actually happened. We have no ability to get what we know to be true here in California out to the international arena through official channels. This would actually give us that. What about victimization against gays and lesbians? If you're gay and lesbian and you're in a foreign country, you get killed sometimes. America doesn't have to talk about that. California could make an international statement saying that's wrong, don't do that, because America has yet to do that. Take another one, Holocaust survivors. Jewish Holocaust survivors didn't get any of the money that was stolen by the Nazis until the California government worked with California Jewish people who were Holocaust survivors to force the issue to be addressed at the UN. If we had direct access to international markets, we could have got Jewish Holocaust survivors the money in half the time instead of 15 years it took to get through this. No, it's not perfect. But there are so many justice issues that we are not allowed to even address because we don't have the vehicles to do it. That would end and we'd be able to get our California perspective more out to the world. And there's so many justice issues that frankly could use California's opinion involved. What happens if next time there's a war, we actually get a say to the world stage, 70% of us are against it, when 70% of the Americans say that they're for it? That's how we felt going into Iraq in 2005. 70% of Californians were against the invasion of Iraq in 2005. 70% of Americans were for the invasion going into Iraq in 2005. If we can actually express our opinion, you might see different things happening globally. Any other questions? Harder the better.
Thank you so much. So can we buy your book? Where?
Please go to Amazon. I have some flyers. If you type in California's Next Century 2.0 or Marcus Ruiz Evans at Amazon or YouTube or Google, Bing, Yahoo, Ask, or whatever. I have a book review from LA Daily Weekly. I'm really pleased with. There's also Californiality bio, and there's a video on YouTube. I'm up to 615 hits trying to get that going. So go on that, maybe like that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Really interesting.
And take a quick break.